Linda, good morning. Could I just start by welcoming you all to the English National Opera and, by definition, the London Coliseum. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Harry Brundges, I'm the acting chair, and I've been enrolled here since the new year. I'm delighted to see many of my fellow board members here today: David Harrell, Nick Allen, Anthony Whitworth-Jones, a name I'm sure you all know, our Deputy Chair David Butler, and of course our President Sir Vernon Ellis. As you also know, at the start of the year we faced some issues collectively with the non-executives and the executives. We've been working very hard and we are putting all that well behind us. As a chair, the responsibility is to celebrate the past, focus on the present and plan for the future. The present has been an enormously successful start artistically to the year, with all our productions receiving critical acclaim, topped off by the Olivier Awards just last week. We've had queues round the block for Sweeney Todd, but I'm probably in fear of creeping into Mr. Berry's territory, so I will say no more. He will tell you much more and detail you our very exciting 2015 and 2016 season. Now, I've been told to be pithy and to the point and not to linger, so it just leaves me to say one more thing, which is as follows. A month ago, we appointed as a board a very capable and aspiring new executive lead, so it's my pleasure to introduce to you the interim chief executive of the English National Opera, and by definition the London Coliseum, Ms. Cressida Pollock.
Thank you, Harry, for that kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I know I've met some of you already, and I look forward to meeting more of you today and over the coming months. And as Harry said, a month ago I was appointed, and it has been a very busy month. With Sweeney Todd, our first musical in partnership with Great Linnet, we had sold out performances and welcomed 32,000 people into the Coliseum, 57% of whom were first-time bookers. We announced Robin Snell as the architects for our project to open up the Coliseum and redevelop the foyer. We've completed the first stage in our audience analysis to help us understand our audiences and widen our reach. And we premiered our beautiful new commission at the Barbican Between Worlds, and now to top it all off, we're announcing a fantastic new season. I am so thrilled to be sitting up here with these two great leaders in their fields, Mark and John. We're so excited to welcome Mark, our incoming music director, and I'm delighted to be working with him as we plan for the next 10 years at ENO. I'm going to pass over to John in a moment. Our recent artistic success really reflects John's vision, and I am so thrilled to have had ENO recognised at the Oliviers, as Harry mentioned. But I know this morning we're here to talk about the 2015-16 season. So without further ado, I'm actually going to pass you over to John.
Thank you, Cressida, and good morning and welcome to everybody. For those of you who don't know, Cressida and I worked together quite extensively for 4 months last autumn when she was with McKinsey, and that was an incredibly productive piece of work. And I think continuity now of coming in and helping with the leadership and working with the team, I think is really exciting and proving incredibly exciting for the future. Of course, Mark is the man of the day. Really, the season is about him, and we're going to hear more from Mark as we go on. But if I could just talk a little bit about the last 18 months. I mean, why 18 months? If I take you back to January, February 2014 with Peter Grimes and Rigoletto. Since then, we've had an extraordinary run of performances, Girls Going West, our great collaboration with Peter Sellers, World Premier Stevens, Benvenuto Cellini, and of course recently Meister Singer. And I think the delivery of those productions and execution is very much down to the ENO team. We've been hearing from some of the members from ENO there, but it is an extraordinary amount of work this team delivers. Our two producers, Bob Holland and Terry Jane Griffin, two people you probably don't know, but you should know, take all of the productions from the first idea to the first night. Our miraculous technical team, Jeff Summerton and Kieran, if you remember, Benvenuto Cellini's sort of extreme sports of opera, ballet delivery, technical running team on stage. If you remember the transitions in Meistersingers of Nuremberg, a 4-ton set moved in 2 minutes. These people are like mice behind the curtain. And of course, John and Marie and Sophie in the casting department. It really is a truly great team. I work with about 40 opera houses around the world, and I meet all sorts of teams, and this really is one of the best. And the stage management here in particular delivered our shows superb. We've already had mention of the Oliviers. I think that was very much the icing on the cake, and we've also been nominated as a company for the RPS Awards and also for the International Opera Awards, and hopefully we might win one of those. We're looking forward to Pirates of Penzance with Mike Lee coming up, and David Alden coming back for Queen of Spades, and Calixto will be reviving his very popular Carmen. Just at this moment, I'd like to just acknowledge Ed Gardner. He's our outgoing music director. He's given incredible service to the company and delivered some extraordinary work. And I think also it's all credit to Mark and Ed for this seamless transition of music directors. It isn't usual in opera houses, but they've both worked together over the last year, and I'm thrilled as colleagues and friends. It's gone terribly well. Looking forward to Mark taking over. The 2015-16 season is a true ensemble of creative talent that I think has a real identity with ENO, an identity which makes all of these artists fit here in a way, together in a way they may not fit in other opera houses. I mean, many of the singers you will know have made important debuts here, from Matthew Rose to Strict Skeleton to our great ENO Harvard artists. And I think even in these difficult financial times, and you'll have to wait until 2016 for Ryan Whittlesworth's new opera, which we have commissioned. But I think the ensemble of directors have a very close relationship with ENO, and seeing them all beside each other in this company, I think is a rather unique event. 4 of those directors actually made their operatic debuts here at ENO, and 2 of them are younger generation directors who I think we could be said ENO really discovered. If we take Benedict Andrews, who's going to be directing Bohème, Benedict started with us at the Young Vic with Return of Ulysses and then went on to Caligula. But as you probably know, he's a major theatre director now. Not View from a Bridge. What did he do at the Young Vic? Streetcar Named Desire at the Young Vic, and Three Sisters were huge successes for him. And he's now gone into feature films, and he's coming back to do La Bohème. Daniel Kramer started also with us at the Young Vic and has a huge career over the last 2 or 3 years now. He started with Punch and Judy, and then he did Bluebeard's Castle here at the Coliseum. And he's going to be directing a new production of Tristan and Isolde. We're collaborating with Anish Kapoor on this project for the first time. Visual artists have a bit of a theme here and are going to have a theme in the future. I'll work with Matthew Barney last year on River of Fundament in a partnership with Whitechapel. We'll continue with William Kendrick in the future in 2016-17. So we do want to bring visual artists into the company, and we think Tristan with Ed conducting for his first gig after leaving his music director. Wonderful cast. I think Tristan is going to be one of our major projects for next season. I think arguably the 2 leading physical theatre companies in London, Complicity and Improbable, both have amazing leaders. Simon McBurney will be coming back to revive his incredibly popular Magic Flute, which has recently opened again in Amsterdam and was a big hit at the Aix-en-Provence Festival last year, and it's great that Simon's coming back with his team for flute with a very strong cast. And of course, Phelan McDermott and Improbable created that extraordinary Satchgrama We've always had a plan to do Agnaton together. You'll remember that Satchgraha, he had this incredible, unique vision, design vision, and I promise you he has some more tremendous ideas for Agnaton. And Agnaton, ENO revisiting that, I think it really is one of those iconic pieces which does cross all genres, from theatre to music theatre to classical music to popular culture. And we're excited about doing that. German directors seem to get a mixed press in London, especially in opera houses. They seem to be a bone of contention. And our history, of course, is with the Australian Berliner Barry Kosky and our Olivier Award-winning Catherine Pollux. But more recently, the great Peter Conditioning came to direct Traviata, which has just had another successful rerun at the Coliseum. And I think Peter's work on Traviata, in my view, will go down as one of the most important productions in London over the last 10 or 20 years. And I'm delighted to welcome another major European director, Dmitry Chernikov. For those of you who don't know his work, he was a discovery of Jean Mortier. He's absolutely an elite of opera directors in Europe and around the world. Recently directed Parsifal with Barenberg in Berlin, and it's incredible kittage in Amsterdam. And I'm thrilled he's going to be here opening the season with Lady Macbeth of Magen's. Calixto Bieto will be known to most of you. He conducted Verdi here many years ago, Barrow Masquerade. He also directed Fidelio here, and is coming back in a few weeks' time to direct our Carmen. Our chorus adore working with him. He loves working in this company. Again, a very much in demand director. And The Force of Destiny was always a production he wanted to direct. And Peter Gallop and I are jointly announcing this new production, which will be a co-production with the Metropolitan Opera. Of course, it has an amazing Spanish text, and Calixto will be setting it in the Spanish Civil War. I suspect it will not be as contentious as Fidelio, and I do know that his designer, Rebecca Riggs, one of the great European designers, has come up with the most fascinating and beautiful set and vision for this production. I'm very excited about it. Chris and David Alden are our link to the past, the present, and the future. And I think out of all opera directors, the talents of those two amazing directors are unsurpassed, really. I think the highlight of the season, frankly, if I was to pick one highlight out, it's going to be Mark conducting Yennefer. It's one of our iconic productions of the last 7 years, and I'm thrilled that's coming back with David Barrett. And Christopher Alden, again, has done marvellous work here. The company love working with him. And his production of Norma, which was such a success at Opera North, will be coming here with a fascinating Marjorie singing her first Norma. And incidentally, ENO's first Norma with Stephen Lord conducting. The Coliseum is a wonderful building, and as Cressida said, we're opening it up with the announcement of an architect to transform the inside of the building. And for me, it's one of the great pleasures of the last 12 months to see this project really move forward, because I think it's genuinely going to transform the building. Of course, we are the resident opera company, but as Cressida has also mentioned, Sweeney was a huge success, and we're going to be announcing another musical which will take place in March, April next year with Greg Lynn. We'll be announcing that probably before the summer, and we hope that will bring in again another new audience. And just remember that the periods we do a musical in are periods we would usually rent out the Coliseum to visiting companies. So this is extra work to our programme, doing a musical. And it's arguably the great dance stage of London. English National Ballet will be here, Sylvie Guillaume, Queensland Ballet, Dutch National Ballet. It's an exciting place to be at the moment, an exciting building, and of course, quite rightly, should be at the centre of the cultural life and entertainment life of London. Finally, Natasha Friedman is our head of Baylis. She's here today, you should talk to her. She delivered a wonderful project with Peter Sellers in Brixton during his residency here. And she's also moving forward very quickly our relationship with University College London. Our collaboration with UCL was officially launched in November with a keynote speech from Peter Sellers. And we're collaborating with UCL academics from the Bartlett School of Architecture, the School of Education Institute School, School of Electronic Engineering and Computer Science, and they will be developing their own research around this collaboration. But we will essentially be creating a cross-discipline centre for innovation, exploring the live performing arts. Now, before anybody moves me on and tells me to get a move on with my introduction, I would just like to acknowledge Mark as well. It's his season and it's his day. He and I go back as friends and colleagues a long time. I remember his fantastic performances of Race Progress and Electra at WNO, and of course his wonderful work with orchestras around the world. And over the last 12 months, he's, if you don't mind saying, Mark, has embedded himself into the life of ENO. He's going to be a very present music director. He's working with everybody throughout the whole of the company. And we are, Mark, thrilled you're here. This is your day, and we would love to hear from you.
Good morning. One of the things that I've noticed very strongly in the last few months is the enormous number of people that care about this company and the incredible passion that they show for it. It is our national opera company, and so as such, it's natural that that would engender a sense of ownership amongst its audience and a sense of identity from its audience. But I think it goes even deeper than that. I think the founding philosophies of Lillian Baylis, in which opera is an equal and indivisible combination of music and drama, and that it's something that is accessible to as many and as wide-ranging people as possible. I think those twin philosophies are as relevant now as they ever have been, perhaps even more so. And interestingly, both those credos demand that we sing in the language of our audience. When people go to watch Moliere or Ibsen or Chekhov, they expect to do so in translation. They want the experience to be direct, they want it to be specific. And if you believe that opera is drama expressed through music, then you understand why the composers, the vast majority of the composers, spent so much time and energy making sure that their works were heard in the language of the cities in which they were playing. One of the things that's rarely discussed about singing in our own language, though, is what it means for the performers. A lot of talk is what it means for the audience. But the ongoing and constant and fascinating discussion that is created by the concept of translation forces the singers, and not only the singers, the orchestra too, because they can hear the words, everybody to engage in exactly what does this piece mean? What do we want it to mean now, today? And I think that lies at the heart of one of the reasons why ENO's performances are never generic. They're always interesting and unique. What's also interesting about singing in the language of the audience is it engages in the fundamental concept of access to as many people as possible. In America, quite recently, there was a survey which asked non-opera goers for their reasons why. And 2/3 of them stated that the fact that it was in a foreign language is a major stumbling block. I do believe that this company do take down the barriers that exist around opera, but there is still a great deal of work to do in getting rid of the perception that those barriers still exist. And that is a challenge that I'm excited to embrace wholeheartedly. You all know what the opera experience can be. There are many, many thousands of people who still feel it is not for them. And I believe singing in their language is a very useful way of showing that it is. It's a challenge that the Baylis program embraces head on. And it's not just the Baylis program is not just a political box ticking of this company. It goes to the heart of what we believe. I urge you to look at the detail that you've been given, because it's fantastic. There is a project based around Akhenaten. There is opera squad going into London secondary schools. There's community choirs. And there is a pilot scheme to develop a summer school for 11 to 18-year-olds. And the work that Streetwise Opera do with vulnerable adults is so inspiring that it's a privilege for us to be their official London artistic partner. One of the other things I've discovered over the last year and engaged in is that a key identity of ENO as a company is the company itself. I've known the orchestra chorus for a long time. Obviously love working with them, but I think what's clear to many of you is over the last few years, the work that Ed has done has created an orchestra chorus of supreme confidence and yet never a complacency. He has led them in a way that has allowed them to constantly give their best. And it's a responsibility that I take very seriously to continue that work, but it's to be joining an orchestra and chorus at the peak of their powers is a much more enjoyable responsibility than any other. But it's not just them, and engaging in the company as a whole, you realise that the care is wide and deep from everybody that works for ENO, and that dedication to collaboration is what allows us to achieve so much, I think. I think that trust is what allows us to take risk, and to meet that risk, I think the respect and the mutual understanding of colleagues is what allows us to be adventurous. And at a time when fiscal reality and artistic ambition need to be constantly balanced, that collegiate company feel is what allows us to show that our value is so much more than our cost. It's a company. A lot of opera organisations are known by the building. We're very proud of the Coliseum, but we are a company. We are the National Opera Company, and yet the talent that this country produces means that we can be both national and international at the same time without contradiction. Some of the singers we have this season: John Dashak, Peter Hoare, Andrew Shaw, Anthony Michael Small, Gwyn Hughes-Jones, Alan Clayton, Lucy Crowe, John Graham Hall. They are singers that I would be honoured to work with anywhere in the world. The fact that we can work together at home is very special. That's not a domestic sentimentality. I think that is a fundamental concept of who we are. I think when you feel like you know your audience, and when the audience feel like they know you in some sense, there is a connection, there is an identity that crosses the auditorium to the stage and back again. It's a set of shared experiences that resonate in a way that is thrilling. The Harvard Artists Program for young artists is extraordinary. It's unique. It's not just tokenism to young singers. It's a project that's tailor-made to whatever an individual singer needs. I think it's profoundly beneficial to them, as well as to the company. The McHarris Conducting Fellow and the House Composers allow our future, I think, to be less of a gamble. I think the English National Opera is the nursery for opera in this country, for performers as well as for audiences. I think opera is a very exciting and glamorous art form. It's the highest art form there is, and yet it's one that can also be truly popular. We have this amazing building, one of the great addresses of the country. I've worked in it in some form or other since 1982. So to be able to be here all the time is a very thrilling opportunity for me. I feel like it's a second home, but it's one that never loses its sense of occasion when I walk in the door. And to be able to share that sense of occasion with as many colleagues as possible and as many new and familiar audiences as possible is something I'm looking forward to enormously. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to you both. And I just had a few more comments to make in addition to the fact of our 2015-16 season announcement, the fantastic season which really echoes the ethos of giving something for all of our audiences and the diversity of the work we put on stage. We have some news for continuing also our work to widen that audience reach that Mark was just talking about. It is part of ENO's ethos that there should be no barriers, cultural or financial, to deter people from coming and attending an ENO performance. We want to ensure that our audiences return time and again to the Coliseum by offering them memorable experiences at accessible prices. In the coming season, we have reduced prices on 50% of the seats in our house. Over 2015-16, this means we will offer 60,000 seats for £20 or under. That equates to about over 500 seats per performance at £20 or less. We will continue to actively look for ways to increase the accessibility to our audiences and offer a ticket at the best value for all of our different segments of audience, from our Access All Areas scheme for students to secret seats for those who want to try out a great seat at a great price, which by the way is also £20. We welcomed over 400,000 people through our doors last year, and we will continue to work on opening this up the Coliseum, attracting those audiences through the diversity of our work and the affordability of our prices. We really want our incredible storytelling and the memorable experiences that both John and Mark have talked about today to be accessible to as many people as possible. So you have a number of the executive team and the board in the room today. We are happy to be able to talk with you informally in the time we have remaining. I want to thank you all again so much for coming. And this now actually concludes the formal part of our proceedings this morning. Thank you.
Absolutely, coming to afterwards. We're all here.
Well, I think actually we also have public questions. Actually, I'm sorry. I mean, this is the only time in the year when we get to question you, and I think we need to have questions. Well, let's ask some questions. We've got half an hour. How much is the
Three of us get a cup of tea and we can ask the same questions again. We'll stay as long as you need us.
Not for everybody to hear. Not for everybody to hear.